This is The Evening Buzz, presented by Mikhail Atiyah.
Tonight, we're joined by a legend here at the tabletop community in the UAE. You might have heard of him if you dabble in tabletop groups like myself, or perhaps you've even stumbled upon one of his wonderful shops, Back to Games, as that's honestly how I've come to know this person. I'm joined here by none other than Mark Azzam, founder of Back to Games. After 18 years as an airline pilot, Mark shifted from connecting cities to connecting people around tables, helping build a tabletop gaming ecosystem right here in the UAE. From retail and Arabic localizations to school clubs and community nights, with interest in tabletop gaming rising across the country, he's now curating a first-of-its-kind regional gathering for board and card games next month here in the UAE. An event focused on learning, on community, and a little healthy competition as well. So we're going to be digging into all of that and how it came together with Mark Azzam. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's really nice to see you here. If anything, I find it's almost like it's almost like a small world, because I'm someone who has a bit, slowly got into tabletop and playing some, from party games to now playing a little bit more heavier stuff, intermediate stuff. And I do find myself going to your shop to, do my window shopping, but also learn about some things that I could really bring to my friends' groups and sessions. And it's crazy to think that I'm sitting with the guy that will help feed that hobby in a perhaps not in an obsessive way is the best way I can describe it. So I want to start from the beginning, Mark. What was the moment you decided to move from being an airline pilot, because this is the one thing that perplexed me, to building a tabletop community? What made you feel like that was really worth the leap?
Yeah, well, I mean, it perplexes me as well, to be honest. My problem is I love flying as much as I love gaming. I'm very much a gamer, just like you are. It's a big passion project of mine. I was flying for 18 years, as you said. The last 10 years is when I was doing both. So I was a full-time pilot as much as I was a full-time businessman with Back to Games. We started with one shop, then it became three. And about 2 years ago, May 2023, I decided this is going to be it. I'm going to make the shift because I wanted to build the convention that we're having very soon, and I wanted to expand on the distribution and the localization that we're doing as well, which is making games into Arabic. It was just very, very difficult to do both full-time. And I just felt that I was limited at that point. And I also think it's not the safest when you're flying to be dealing with so much on the ground as well. So I made a decision. And yeah, it's been 2 years now.
Honestly, amazing. And I want to also kind of take us back to, that first time when you ran the shop and kind of, people walked in for that first time and, they were asking about the things that you were offering. I wanted to kind of delve into your perspective on when did you realize that there was true demand here for tabletop?
Yep, very good question. So I kind of I winged it in the beginning. Oh, that's a pun from a pilot thing. But I basically didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew that this was very much lacking. I was going around the world buying games from all around the world wherever I was flying. Same thing with a lot of other gamers when they go home and they come back. So this was very much lacking, especially on the board game side of things. So we opened the shop, and the first sale we had was an X-Wing fighter ship, actually, from the X-Wing game from FFG, Final Fantasy Games, at the time. This is 10 years ago. And then I just saw more and more people coming in. I was already in the gaming communities beforehand, so they were very, very supportive, and they still are in Dubai, and then Abu Dhabi the same as well. So that's kind of how I began to learn that there was very much a demand for this, and then I expanded from a small kiosk, a 20-meter kiosk, to my first shop, which was 54 meters squared, and then to 3 shops now. So yeah, it's been a very interesting 10-year journey so far with this.
I'll tell you my first experience jumping into your shop. I was doing a little bit of window shopping, looking for perhaps like an expansion for Coop, I think, at the time. And people were telling me, oh, maybe go get Carcassonne and whatnot. The thing is that when I jumped into tabletop, I fell into it really hard. Like I was looking for the best, the top 10, the top 20s. And so I came with a list on a mission. And I remember walking into the workshop corner, and I noticed you had a lot of tables in your store, and you had a few people that were sitting talking passionately about Warhammer universe. They were really getting into certain debates, and at first I will say, to be out-geeked is a bit intimidating, but there was a strong sense of community And I think this is something that is really at the forefront of what you're trying to do and what you're looking to also bring to your next big project, right?
Yes, very much so. Our shops are a second home, really, for all these communities. We have trading card game communities. There's multiple ones. We have obviously the board game community. We have the miniatures community that you're referring to, which is mostly in Warhammer, but there's other miniature games as well. And the role-playing community. Dungeons and Dragons is a big one, but there's also a lot of other smaller games that are also being played constantly. So all four of these communities are very, very important, and without them, we don't have back to games, actually. That's absolutely critical. It's very much a give and take between the shops and the communities themselves. And we just always want to make sure they have a safe haven to come to, a place they can escape, the place they can kind of leave behind their troubles from work and family and other issues they may have, and just enjoy the time together and just, really share something that they're all very passionate about.
And besides community, we also kind of want to focus on the industry more than the players, because every board game is developed with a group in mind. You have the illustrators, the designers, the translators, and the writers. And, for the short amount of times that I spent with you, you've also been around other board game designers, and they kind of share their experience. And we got to play one of the official Sharjah board games with the creator himself, and Al-Jadda. That was fantastic. And I think for you, that's very important, because, for you, it means, there's a huge emphasis on how a single board game, a single box, helps support so many creatives as well, especially here in the UAE.
Yep, 100%. Every game is basically two parts. It's mechanics, which is produced more on the mathematical kind of engineering level of the game, if you wish, and then the artistic side, which is the more illustrative side. They have to meet. So any mechanic can adapt to any fantasy, science fiction, or whatever style you want to give it as a design. But it is very, very critically important to curate for these people that are basically creating these games. And each one of them is its own universe. Each one of them is its own world. The Sharjah board game you're referring to takes place in the Sharjah Souk over here, and it's been kind of repurposed for that. And when you play it, you feel it. You feel those different antique shops inside. You feel the carpet shops. You feel what's happening there, and you're basically a merchant in a way in that. So you're entering that world, and every single board game does that to you. You enter that world, whatever it is that you're interested by, you're fascinated by, you can find a board game for it. There are literally thousands and thousands. It's much, much more than Monopoly and Risk and Clue and Scrabble, which everybody knows generally.
Exactly. I think this is kind of the stigma that I really want to break with our conversation, is that to the average listener, when we think of board games and tabletops, it's more than just the Monopolies and a Ticket to Ride. It is a vast and versatile and robust array of so many niches and subgenres and things that I always think I'd like to say that there's a game for everyone out there.
100%.
Which is why I want to take a bit of a short break, and next we're going to talk about Mark's next big ambitious project, the first of its kind tabletop convention right here in the UAE. That and so much more right here on The Evening Buzz. Stay tuned.
Pulse 95.
And we're back, continuing our interview with Mark Azzam, the founder of Back to Games and the curator for one of the biggest tabletop gaming communities here in the UAE. And it's looking like it's going to get just a bit bigger, because now Mark is putting together the region's first ever tabletop convention. So we have him here on the show, and I want to ask him, what convinced you that you felt like it was the right time to attempt something so ambitious?
Yes, it is quite ambitious. I sometimes debate if I should even start doing it. It's 20 days away now, so I think it's our 10th year anniversary of Back to Games, to be honest. That's going to be in November now, coming up, and that's when the convention is. So in a way, it's kind of like kismet that it happened at this time. And we've been building for 10 years. We've had thousands and thousands of customers. So I thought it would be the right time to get this launched. I spoke to my team. They were much less ambitious than I was. It ended up being much bigger than we expected, to be honest. We were only looking for about 20 publishers to start with. We ended up having 55, of which 2 of them are local. One of them is from Sharjah even.
Amazing.
So yeah, this is what ended up happening, and we're just going with the flow, and let's see what happens in 20 days.
Which is why I want to help people kind of paint a picture of what this convention is going to be like. You're talking about global publishers, local designers, local business artists and educators and families. So to anyone who will be making their way to this convention, first timers, what can they really experience in that first 60 minutes as they jump into this place?
Yeah, so you're going to walk into a typical convention. I guess you could look at it a bit similarly to what Comic-Con would look like, but very, very different in scope and context. But that's going to be what it is. It's a huge hall, 8,500 meters of space, 55 different brands exhibiting their products. They'll be exhibiting anywhere from one game all the way up to 5 or 6 games. Game masters will be placed in each one, so they will be teaching you the games themselves. You don't have to learn the rules by yourself by reading a rule book, because that's not going to be very productive for you. You want to go and have fun. So every single hour is available for that fun. You also have a main stage that has over 20 different talks and panels and experiences that you can also attend. A lot of them are the industry professionals. Some are artists. Some are designers as well. They're going to be talking about their trade. There's a workshop area if you want to get into that side as well. If you want to be more interactive directly with the person that's presenting, up to 30 people can go there. And then there's 15 role-playing games happening simultaneously from 10 different worlds. So whatever it is that you're interested in, if it's Dungeons and Dragons, Dune, or Fallout, it's all there.
And part of this convention is more than just the fun. Part of it is the educational aspect of it, which is something that you're also catering for not only schools but even universities, right?
Yeah, 100%. We're launching promo codes to the biggest universities in the country, including the University of Sharjah and the American University of Sharjah. Those two were also given promo codes this last week. And we just want to get a lot of students to come in. Hopefully, what we want to do in the future is we want to get universities to actually compete against each other in these board games that we have. And we want to build that up over the next year for the next tabletop that will come, hopefully. That's something that's very, very important to me personally, being a university student myself and being a part of my game club in my university back home. So, this is what we want to build up, and hopefully we can have a lot more universities join in with their own game clubs. We just started one in Abu Dhabi University not too long ago. It's now become the biggest club of all of them, and it has 105 students already, and that was just 2 months ago.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. But also, besides educational fun, a little healthy dose of competition, as you'll be also hosting some official tournaments. Some of them being Magic the Gathering. There's even, I believe, for Catan. One I noticed was Brass Birmingham, and
Yes.
I'll be honest, it's a humble brag, but when I play with my friends, I usually do win every single game. So I do feel tempted to jump into it.
I think you and I should play Brass.
We definitely should.
Yeah.
So I want to ask about the official tournaments. What are some of the big titles that are running up? And for Sharjah enthusiasts out there, how can they register in advance?
Yeah, for sure. So we have 26 tournaments officially right now. From the trading card games, we have 6. Yeah, we have 6 right now. We have 4 regionals. So Yu-Gi-Oh is a very big and loved game here, especially within the Emirati community. We have Magic the Gathering, like you said. We have Grand Archive, and we have One Piece and Pokemon. They're not regionals. And we also have Star Wars Unlimited. So for people that love Star Wars, it's an amazing game as well. These are the big ones that are happening. The board games have 12, everything from Brass Birmingham, as you said, which is a much higher level game, all the way down to Catan, Ticket to Ride, even Abalon, the little pushy game with the marbles, which everybody loves.
Yes.
We even have chess. The chess players are more than happy to come. There's going to be the junior chess and the senior chess. We have something new, which has never been happening I think in most of Asia even, speed puzzling. 500-piece puzzle. You have to puzzle it as fast as you can, and then the fastest one wins the actual tournament. We have both pairs. You can come with a friend or family member, and singles.
I
So
definitely will be
new.
spectating that.
Yeah, it's a bit stressful. It's
Very
very, very big in the US, very big in Europe. It's all very much post-COVID, but it's really growing all around the world, and we wanted to try it here. I hope we get enough players to actually launch it. It's going to be very, very epic.
I mean, honestly, what you're offering here is more than just a niche little hobbies and niche little tournaments. This is kind of like a celebration of some really passionate groups of people, from Magic to Warhammer to the casual tabletops to even the more hardcore stuff. I feel like it's a place that's going to be great for the tabletop community, and it's a reflection of that rising culture behind it as well.
And it's very much also, what you're saying is very true, but also for the masses. We want people to come and learn about what we do. There are many, many easy games, party games, fun games, family games for kids and parents. It's really celebrating human culture, because all these are made by humans and they're not electronic, unlike phones and iPads and consoles and computers, what we're used to. This is interacting with another human being in front of you and using the medium of a board game to do so. It's very educational, it's very fun, it's very familial, it's cross-generational. You can be young to old, you can play with your grandparents as much as you can play with a brother or sister, which is your age. So there's no boundaries, and that's what's beautiful about it. It is very much the human experience in a game.
Very much so. I know on my show I talk about the rise of digitization. A lot of people just consuming digital products, only playing games digitally. But you see the rising culture and the rising community of tabletop, and you realize that there's still a need, a love for in-personal connection, and tabletop is perfect for this.
Yeah, personal connection and the kinetic touch. When you touch components, when you touch a game itself, it's very much different from video game. They both have their own power, I think, and their own positives in their own way. But a tabletop game is still just very, very special. It's just the most humane way of leisure and entertainment, I think. There's nothing that beats it.
Indeed. And, for the brief times that I got to meet you, there's always been discussion. You're quite busy. You got a lot on your hands, and I admire that. But there's always this very strong sense of optimism coming out of you about what is ahead. It's not just this and, just today and this year. You're thinking many years ahead because you see something that many others don't see. And I want to ask you, looking 5 years ahead from now, what does tabletop gaming culture in the Middle East is going to look like to you?
Well, that's a good question. I didn't see that one coming. We've been doing this for 10 years. Definitely when we first started, it was very, very minimal. Boardgame Space, our distribution company, has been able to really spread gaming all across the GCC, very, very importantly, and it's localized, or it's made 55 games into Arabic, a lot of the common games that people play. And now you see our games all over the mass market. We just got into Carrefour recently. You'll find them in Borders, you'll find them in Virgin mega stores, and Jarir even in Saudi, and of course all the hobby stores that we support as well. I just think it's going to grow further. I hope that tabletop will become bigger, and we want to get people to come in, and we want to, in a way, the way I see it is that Asia is the manufacturing powerhouse of the world, China and that whole entire area in the east side. Mostly it's China, Taiwan, Japan, etc. Then you have the West, which is more the producers of these games, the creators of these games, which is Europe and North America. We are in the middle, as usual. GCC and obviously the UAE is in the middle. So I want to bridge these two together here. And normally they go to Germany and to the States for these conventions, but I think we are perfectly placed for this because we're in the middle of both, and both can meet here, do business, and at the same time the communities themselves can grow and enjoy these publishers coming to our region. So this is how I see it growing.
I definitely can see that as well. It's the start of something truly great, and which is why I urge my listeners, especially here in Sharjah, for all board game, card game enthusiasts. If you love tabletop, you love role play, you do a little bit of Magic the Gathering, you play, a little bit of board game with your friends. This is going to be a great convention to attend. This is the first of its kind tabletop convention right here in the UAE. If you want more details, do visit tabletop.me. But once again, thank you so much, Mark, for being here. An absolute pleasure. And we hope to see you again with even more bigger projects to come.
Thank you very much for having me as well. It was a pleasure.
And with that, guys, we're going to take a bit of a break. And coming up next, we got more news and headlines from the world of entertainment right here on the Evening Buzz. Stay tuned.